So the whole journey of me writing songs in Bahasa began in, I think it was 2017, when I met up with my leaders at Penang House of Prayer, Alan and Violet. And I was sitting down with them particularly because I wanted to process a few things regarding what I think my next season in life would look like. And they actually gave me a challenge. And they said, Corey, I think you should start writing songs in Bahasa Melayu. I took that challenge. And prior to this whole start of the journey, I actually have already started writing songs on and off, worship songs in English. And I would have to say, writing songs in English it's actually easier because other people have already used words that are more familiar under the theme of the bridal paradigm, more intimate words such as wedding, bridegroom. And for me, starting to write songs in Bahasa with these themes, it seems almost unorthodox, and that's something that I had to learn. And in the process of writing songs, I actually took up a job as a Bahasa teacher for quite some time. I think it was 2 years of teaching, and I immersed myself into learning Bahasa, even though that is my heart language. I actually had to teach myself how to teach Bahasa to other people. And in the process of understanding more about Bahasa, I realized that Bahasa Melayu is actually a very beautiful language. It's very poetic. It's a language where you know that if you don't take the opportunity to write songs in Bahasa, you're just missing out on something. And yes, it was in this whole process. It was also a time when to be honest, I went through a very difficult season in my life. This act of writing songs in Bahasa was actually one of the ways that I fought for my relationship with the Lord, especially when I felt like throwing in the towel, especially when I felt like I don't have faith anymore to believe. And for the longest time, these songs were compiled, these songs were written, but it kind of just sat over there. I wasn't sure if people were actually going to be listening to the songs. And, all the while I would just sing the songs at the prayer room. We have, prior to the COVID restrictions and all that, we actually had Bahasa Melayu devotional worship set here at Penang House of Prayer. And it's on Friday morning. So Friday morning is typically not the time that people would attend the worship sets at Penhop, and it would basically be less than 10 people, or I think I remember sometimes just 5 people sitting in the room, and I would sing the songs, and I just would wonder okay, I think this is what the song is meant to do. As long as it hits the heart of a few people, that's enough. And until one day, my leader Alan came to me and said that, hey, Corey, actually there is an opportunity for you to record these songs because there is financial blessing for you to do it. And as you probably know, releasing songs is actually not a cheap thing to do. You need a lot of money for it. And I was so amazed to know that, wow, these songs, I actually have an opportunity now to record these songs and to release it to other people. So I began the work of, recording it. And I think here I want to specifically mention my friends Joshua Quay. We call him Josh K, actually. He had helped so much in recording the songs at his mini studio at home, at his apartment. And then my friend Sean, who was always there week in and week out, just providing music, playing the keyboard for the recording. And also several people who have contributed to the production of the album. My friend Josh Jesudasan, he played guitar for 2 songs, Ku Milikmu and Segala Yang Abadi. And my friend Lester Wong, who helped master all of the tracks. So every weekend, my friend Sean and I, Sean was the one who played the keyboard for the recordings. We would go to Josh K's studio to record the songs. And I remember feeling I have to sing the same line over and over and over again. To the point where, at the end of the initial recording phase, I told myself, I don't want to listen to these songs anymore. Until one day, my friend Lester, he had finished mastering all of the tracks and he sent the finalized copies to me. And I listened to it again and I just couldn't help but feel the power and the anointing behind the songs. And it reminded me again of what caused the songs to be birthed in the first place. You know, it was an encounter with God where I found myself like fighting for my faith to be alive, even when I was so tempted to stop believing in Him. And it's so amazing because I find myself here at this moment doing this interview, and you know, that's meant to promote these songs to listeners. And it really felt like it has been a long journey, but it was worth it. I learned a lot, and I saw how beautiful the process has been, how much the Lord had opened up my heart to appreciate what He is going to do through these songs. So the title of the album is Segala Yang Abadi, and it is actually the title of one of the songs in the album. And Segala Yang Abadi means all things eternal. So this is basically the overall theme of the entire album. We know that in Ecclesiastes, it says that God had put eternity in the hearts of men. And for us who believe in Jesus, it becomes more real when we go through seasons of life when our earthly comforts are removed from us. And then we begin to realize how fragile the world is and how much better eternity is when we are with Him. So the album actually brings a message about the bridegroom king, our bridegroom king, Jesus, who promised us that He will come back, and that when He comes, He will bring the fullness of His kingdom. And in that kingdom, we know that there's not going to be any more pain. There's going to be no more tears, no more death. So to be vulnerable, I want to share an experience in writing one of the songs. The song is Engkau Baik. So I wrote the song because I was actually going through a very difficult time with a past relationship. I wrote that song because I wanted to worship God through the pain. The funny thing was that when I was writing it, I actually saw a picture in my mind of a man. He was sitting in a prison cell. It was a concrete prison cell. He was skinny, he was shriveled. And in my mind, I knew that he was actually being persecuted because he loved Jesus. He was singing that song that I wrote, that I was writing at that moment, so tenderly and so peacefully before the Lord. So I learned then that it doesn't matter what is the degree of pain or tribulation that we face here on earth, because, the language of grief is similar. It's very similar. It doesn't matter what is the degree of it. But the God of all comforts. He comforts us the same. And the fact that I actually took the time to write that song, Engkau Baik, because even though I wasn't persecuted for my faith, I have this hope that it will actually encourage people who are who might go through persecution in the future because they love God. So this anticipation for eternity actually gives us hope. No, it doesn't matter what we are going through in life. It gives us hope. And my desire is for people to embrace this blessed hope of Jesus' return as they listen to the songs, whatever season of life they are in. The album is dedicated to people in the Bahasa-speaking church, the orang asal in Sabah and Sarawak, and the orang asli in Semenanjung, Malaysia. So we know that the native and tribal peoples carry the warrior spirit, which sadly in the past, we've become a warmongering people instead. I'm not proud of the fact that there were tribal wars and headhunting among my people back in the days. But for me, I still believe that the warrior spirit is a gift given by the Lord to the tribal peoples. There were several things that happened in the past, and I think some of those things are happening even now, that had caused this warrior spirit to be muzzled or silenced. I think what this nation needs at this moment is to hear the cry of the Bahasa-speaking church, which are the native peoples, the cry that would awaken the church to prepare for His coming. The native Bahasa-speaking church is really gifted. When it comes to music and dances, just give them the stage. They know how to bring the house down. Plus, there is a rawness in the way that the native church worships the Lord. It's like they instantly know how to cry out from the depth of their hearts to meet with the depth of God's revelation. And this is actually just one album, and it's meant to inspire more albums to come out from the Bahasa speaking church. And imagine what it can do to others when we begin to hear the cry of worship in the language of this nation. The native peoples have a voice. It's time to let them roar.
Demi segala yang abadi, demi segala yang abadi, demi